Hello, my name is Aaron Rayum, and I'm the Director of Financial Planning for the Financial Enhancement Group. And this year we're celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we are super excited for what we're doing in our local communities. And so, over the course of the year, we have decided to partner with 12 different charities in our local areas. And today we have the pleasure of partnering with Sheltering Wings. And so Paige Van Zo is the development director there. And we're going to interview her, ask her some questions, and learn a little bit more about Sheltering Wings. So Paige, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks for having me today. That's 12 charities. That's amazing. Thank you all so much for doing that and caring so much about the community.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And actually, so we're doing this over the course of 12 months. Sheltering Wings is our April partnership. So we will be making a $2,500 donation to you guys this month. And so we are very excited to be able to do that and financially blessed and just want to partner, as I said, with people in our local community.
Thank you so much for that. We can't do the work that we do without donors, and it means a lot to be here today and to be able to speak with you and to be able to speak with the folks associated with your group. It's really exciting.
Well, cool. So tell me a little bit about Sheltering Wings and what do you guys do?
Sure. So we're a nonprofit domestic violence service provider and emergency shelter. We serve men, women, and children fleeing domestic abuse. And we have a 24/7 facility out here in Danville, Indiana. This past year, we answered over 1,300 crisis calls and we welcomed over 260 folks through our doors. The need is great, and we're blessed to be able to serve victims of domestic violence in a Christ-centered environment.
Wow. So you said over 1,300 people through the doors?
1,300 crisis calls in the past year
Wow.
we've answered, and 260 folks, actually a little bit more than 260 folks at this time through the doors.
That is incredible. So I understand you guys are celebrating your 20th anniversary this year. Tell me just a little bit about how Sheltering Wings got started.
So yeah, we're celebrating 20 years of safety this year, and it's really exciting. I love the story of our founding. It's such a special story, and we were able to hear it live last Saturday at our premiere event as well with Sue Hoffeditz, our founder. She was there and she told this story, but essentially she started a food pantry at Cornerstone Christian Church as a school project. She was going back to school when her kids were in school, and she started up the food pantry there. One day when she was at the food pantry, a woman came in and it was obvious that she had been beaten. She had a couple of children with her. And as the conversation went on, come to find out she was having to leave the state to go seek safety. And that really caused a stirring in Sue's heart. And she talked to her pastor and she said, where can these women go? Where can people go who are in an abusive situation? And it turns out the answer was there is nowhere in Hendricks County for folks who have been abused to go. And so that was only 20 years ago that there was no place to go before Sheltering Wings. So Sue talked to someone at the prosecutor's office. She talked to a few others, and she thought, someone's going to do something about this if I just talk about it enough. And come to find out, it was her. She was the person who was going to do something about it. She pulled together a team of really wonderful founders. And right now, what started as a school project 20 years ago at a food pantry has grown to a 37,000 square foot facility with 80 beds serving men, women, and children who are affected by abuse. So it's really incredible what one person can do when the Lord stirs their heart and can build something so amazing. Some of our original funding was from the federal government, and it was a big hit last Saturday. Sue made the comment, can you imagine a Christ-centered organization getting funding from the federal government? It's pretty incredible, and that's what got us started, and that's why we're here today.
Wow. That is amazing, and it is definitely a God-sized vision and dream. And so, one thing you did mention, and a lot of times, and this is where my mind goes, is when you think of abuse, you think of women, right? And so,
Mhm.
you made a comment. Does the shelter also serve men and children as well?
We do. We've been serving men since February of 2020, and we provide the same services, the same resources and education to men as we do for women. We have built on a men's expansion that opened in February 2020, and we've been serving men ever since. We thought, this is what's incredible to me. We thought that we might serve 9 men in the first year, and we served 9 men in the first few months that the expansion was open. And we've had men staying with us ever since. So the problem is bigger than men or women. Abuse affects everyone. 1 in 4 women will be abused in their lifetime, and 1 in 7 men. And that's really not a huge difference. It's a problem
Mhm.
for everyone, and that's just of who's reported. So you can imagine there are probably far more people out there who you never even hear their story, but they're going through abuse and isolation or control.
Yeah, I would have never thought that statistic was as close as what it would be for men and women in that type of situation. One thing that, especially over the past 2 years, has been a huge effect on uh, just overall the way we live, the world, but mostly a lot of nonprofits and charities. How has COVID-19 affected your guys' organization
Yeah.
or even the
Well, through
services?
COVID, a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I don't think there's an organization that hasn't been touched by COVID, unfortunately. And throughout the pandemic, we kept our doors open and kept serving residents. We did have to reduce our census slightly just for infection control's sake. But even with that reduced census, something is happening, and we're a little bit concerned. We are seeing more folks come into the shelter. We served just as many people in the last 2 years as we did before the pandemic, but they're not staying as long. And we're
Mm.
sure that that's due to a number of factors. Folks might be trapped at home with their abuser, work from home type of things. You might not have an occasion to make a crisis call or to get away. And so we have expanded our services into what we call mobile advocacy a bit more. We're in 5 counties outside of, including Hendricks, excuse me, where we're providing services to folks who don't need or want emergency shelter. And we're changing things a bit to reach those who don't want to stay in shelter for whatever reason. But we are concerned. We know that abuse has been on the rise through the pandemic. The first year of the pandemic, domestic violence deaths were up 108%, according to the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And this previous year, they were up 181%. So while we're seeing more people come in and stay for less time, we know that the problem's out there. We know that it's not getting any better, and we're concerned.
Yeah. With those, alarming statistics, how can the community rally around and really help your guys' cause?
Yeah, the community is so important to what we do. It takes a village to deliver these services and to reach survivors of abuse. And we absolutely can't do what we do without donors, without concerned community members, without volunteers. We are run by caring people who dig into this work with us. We have a very small staff and we can't do it alone. And as I mentioned, the problem's not getting any smaller. We need folks who are willing to roll up their sleeves and to get into the work with us in whatever way it makes sense for them, through financial contributions, through volunteering, through education, bringing us in to do a workshop at your church or your workplace, to talk about abuse, to help with your policies. These are things that we can do. We actually launched a website through the pandemic called freedomideserve.com. And on that website, there are several resources that are geared toward oneself or someone you love. And there are resources there for churches, workplaces, and individuals. So if you're looking for a place to get involved, a good place to start is just to spend a little time there and to just read about how you can support someone who you suspect might be being abused or who might need your help.
One last final question. So can you walk me through, just what a day would look like, or just a volunteer type day would be at Sheltering Wings?
I can. So I can give you a little bit of an idea. We have over 300 active volunteers at Sheltering Wings, and volunteers do everything here from operate the front desk and answer phones and doors, which is incredibly important because that allows our staff to focus directly on residents. Volunteers provide childcare. We have some wonderful volunteer group opportunities for folks to come in and organize pantry items, to make goodie bags for our residents, to give things a good deep cleaning. If you're a person who loves to clean, there's a spot for you here. Also, landscaping, group projects. If you can swing a hammer or use a paintbrush, we could absolutely need you for projects throughout the year. And just having someone come in and spend a little time with our residents doing things like parties or barbecues, bringing in dinner, just serving in fellowship. There are opportunities for all sorts of volunteers. And you can find out how to get involved there if you'd like at shelteringwings.org/get involved. There's a whole section for volunteers and a way for you to sign up there as well. Bring a group. We can use one person or 30 people. If you've got them, bring them in, and we'll put them to work.
Paige, thank you so much for sharing about Sheltering Wings today. And as she mentioned, you can go to shelteringwings.org to find out more information about how to get involved. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to let us interview you and learn more about what you're doing here in Hendricks County and the surrounding communities.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for taking some time to learn about Sheltering Wings. As I mentioned, we can't do this work without caring folks, and we just appreciate you taking some time to listen and talk with us today.
You're very welcome, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too.